My name is Belina and I am absolutely devastated that senior year is ruined and I may never go back to school until after I graduate, but honestly everything's fine. We're gonna make the most out of it. Although everything in life is not really what I expected right now, I think it's super important to still try to make the most out of everything. Having an online fall semester for my senior year goes against every plan that I have made coming up to this point. I think one of the biggest lessons that you can learn in life is that life is unpredictable. Not everything will go as planned, and that's okay. But I think learning to adapt and making the most out of every situation is super important. So with that being said, I want to share 5 things that I'm doing to prepare for the upcoming semester online. The first thing I'm doing is setting up a nice and clean work environment. I think this is super important because one of the main things that we're losing from not being able to be on campus is access to all the different study spaces that are available. Whether it be libraries, student centers, study lounges, there was always somewhere that you could go. I personally really loved using the large tables and being able to spread out all my work as I do it, but now that we're home and virtual, I'm not gonna have access to those kinds of things anymore, so I want to try and replicate that in some sense. And another really big thing about being in a virtual environment is that you should highly avoid doing class from bed. As comfortable as it may seem, it is not helpful at all. And when you're in bed, you have the mindset of being relaxed, which is a good thing, but that's not really the mindset you want to have when you're in class. On a side note though, it is really nice that since we are in a virtual environment, if you have an off day where you just feel kind of sick or just super exhausted, you do have the ability to attend class from bed once in a while if you really need it. But overall, you should really be avoiding the bed for work. The second thing that I think you should do is to set clear housemate expectations. Whether you live with family or friends, setting clear expectations is going to be super important. I feel like while you're on campus, it's a little bit less important considering that if things in your dorm isn't exactly what you expect, you can always escape to the library or the dining hall or a study lounge or your friend's apartment. There were a lot of options for places that you could go instead of your dorm. But since we are all trapped in our houses essentially with just whoever we live with, it's really important to set those clear expectations, such as when do you expect things to be quiet, what are the sleep schedules gonna look like, will you all eat at the same time, and who's gonna do the cooking and the cleaning. It's really important to set up these boundaries and expectations from the very beginning, and also keep the communication open throughout the year to make sure that everyone can have their best work environment and no added stress. The third thing I have is to create a weekly schedule. Whether your classes are synchronous or asynchronous, it is still super important to maintain a weekly schedule. Having a consistent schedule will allow you to clear your head and identify when is your relaxed time and when is your work time, and can help your brain shift into a productivity mode. And even if you have the ability to watch your lectures whenever you want, I would try and set up a specific time every week to watch the lectures. I think one of the struggles of virtual learning is that you end up with a lot of free time that you don't have normally. So all the travel time between classes is all eliminated. If you're not actively managing that free time, it can be really easy to just let that time slip away by being on your phone or laying in your bed too long. So it's really important to actively manage all of your time, and honestly I would try to stick to a schedule that's as similar to your schedule that you would have in school as much as possible. The fourth tip that I have is to take care of yourself, and honestly no matter what you're doing, this is always a good tip to keep in mind. Taking care of yourself is super important, and it affects everything that you do. Make sure that you sleep enough, drink enough water, get exercise, and eat healthy. By taking care of your body, you allow your body to work in its most effective way. It becomes so much more difficult to pay attention in class and to get your assignments done if your body is not healthy. It'll make it harder to focus and complete your work, and you'll just overall feel pretty awful. And the last thing that I want to keep in mind is to strive to improve one academic technique or add value to yourself in some way. I feel like something that I realized from last semester is that being virtual makes it really hard to maintain that motivation. I feel like it's really easy to feel like we're not in school even though we're doing all the school work. I think the fact that we are virtual, although it sucks a lot, has created new opportunities for you to make the most out of that you wouldn't have been able to otherwise. An example for me is that as a female computer science major, I've always wanted to attend the Grace Hopper conference, but the Grace Hopper convention always takes place during the school week and often many states away. So that would involve missing a lot of classes, and it can be really difficult if you have midterms or projects due the same week that Grace Hopper is taking place. In addition, it's also a lot of money to attend, to book a flight flight and the hotel and pay for food and attend the conference itself. But with the conference being moved online virtually this year, the conference cost has been cut down drastically, and I can attend the conference as I'm still going to class. And it's just these little things and opportunities that being in person might have limited you, that now being virtual, they become opportunities that you can take and make the most out of. And while there are probably hundreds of things that you will miss out on, unfortunately, you can still make up for that by doing things that you can only do virtually. And I feel like a really important thing that I like to keep in mind is that if I do a little bit more this semester, even if it's not what I originally planned to do, I can allow myself to be open to more opportunities in the spring should anything else pop up. Because like we said, life is unpredictable, and all we can do is make the most out of it and really just grab any opportunities that are available to us. I think the worst thing that you can do is to just sort of give up just because things aren't going the way that you expected. And even if it can be difficult and mentally draining, I think it's important to sort of figure out a way to change your mindset on things to try and focus on the positive. Try to stay safe and healthy, and let's come out of the situation stronger than we came in. That's all I have to say. If you have other things that you're focusing on for this upcoming semester, let me know. Okay, bye.